All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for Jeremy's Pedal Power Hour. Guys, I'm Jeremy with Lifted Adventures. Thanks for showing up. I'm super excited about tonight's Jeremy's Pedal Power Hour because I have one of my favorite YouTubers on, one of my favorite channels to watch. I have Nick with VanCan. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty well, thanks.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Make sure everybody that can, if you could let me know, make sure everything's clear, both of us, so you can hear us good. So, first, Nick, like I start every single time, I don't know if you ever watched any of my live streams, but I like to have my people that I'm interviewing with say Jeremy's Pedal Power Hour 5 times as fast as you can.
All right, let me try out slow here. Jeremy's pedal power hour. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I already mumble so much.
Yeah.
This is
Uh huh.
all right. Here we go. Jeremy's pedal power hour. Jeremy's pedal power hour. Jeremy's pedal power hour. Jeremy's pedal power hour. Jeremy's pedal power hour.
That
Jeremy's
was
pedal power hour.
I
Is that
think
five?
I think
That's
that was
six.
5. That might have been 6, but it's
Yeah.
okay. You did it. You did it. That works. That's awesome. Well, congratulations, Nick. You have
No.
accomplished the
Yeah.
impossible. So, everybody, I got Nick on. I got his link down in the description below. Check his YouTube channel out. He's got some awesome stuff from up in Vancouver. Correct? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Van Can.
Yeah.
Um, start off. Tell me a little bit about your channel. So if no one's ever watched your channel, what would you say to them?
Yeah. It's really just about me and my riding, and I guess lately it's been about improving as a rider. That's kind of what I've got going on right now.
Mhm.
I've been mountain biking for 2.5 years now after
Oh,
BMXing for 15.
okay.
So yeah, every time I go out and ride now, like, I was at a certain point with BMX, like a certain skill level. And when I come to mountain biking, or when I came to mountain biking, I was a beginner again, basically. And even now, I'm more comfortable, say, on like jumps because that's something I did a lot on my little
Hmm.
bike. But
Yeah.
when it comes to like tech riding and stuff, I'll ride with guys and they're just cruising through the tech, no problem, and I'm still like, oh no, like this is too hard.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, no channels that yeah, just about me and my riding.
that kind of separates you a little bit too. I mean, like me, I didn't do BMX, so just straight up starting a mountain bike. You got a kind
Mhm.
of a I'd say you got an edge on a lot of stuff that people are really into nowadays. I mean, would you think most people would be more into jumping and drops and all that kind of stuff, or
um, hmm.
have you seen any of it come over to the tech side, your BMX skills, or is it?
A little bit in that, like, I feel like I have decent bike control.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can stop and track stand and stuff like that, and kind of
Yeah,
like make a decision if I want to, ride or stop or
yeah.
brake. But like fast techie sections, anything kind of like scary tech. There's some pretty, crazy lines here on some trails
Uh huh.
that the local guys will make look really easy, but I'm like, oof, like that's
So
scary.
whereabouts exactly are you at? I mean, what's your local trails?
Uh, well, the trails I ride most often are Burnaby Mountain because I live right at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a graduate student at Simon Fraser, and that's where it is. It's up top of the mountain. So, like, I'll ride these trails really often because I can just come home, like, go out the door and ride. Then I'll go ride the North Shore pretty often, especially in the winter
That's
because it's
awesome.
so winter friendly, like
Yeah.
the rock work and stuff. And if you want to ride alone, you just go to like say Frome and pedal up. It's a fire road that's like really a gentle ride all the way to the top, and you can do that. And then yeah, now I'm kind of trying to expand a little bit more. But there's so many trails here. Like I've been here for 2.5 years, and I'm still
Mm-hmm.
like there's trails on the mountains I just still haven't ridden. I just there's so many.
That's like a dream. Like every
Hmm.
mountain biker's dream. I mean, most of I guess a lot of you guys are up there around that area. I mean, you got Josh and Bellingham just south of you,
Hmm.
and everything. You guys, I mean, the North Shore. You just that's that. And then, how far away are you from Whistler?
So it's like an hour and a half, like door to door. So if I leave here, at 9, I get there at 10:30.
See, that's a normal weekend for me. If I want to go
Yeah,
somewhere decent, I have to drive about an hour and a half to get there.
yeah, that's rough. Like I can't even imagine now like not being able just to walk out my door and ride.
Yeah.
Uh, we're gonna have to move eventually here, probably, maybe when I get a job or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be rough. Hopefully, we can live somewhere at least relatively close where I can. If I'm gonna drive, it's like maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Well, if they say Florida, you can think about it because I'm here, but just say no. Just say no.
Yeah, for the next little while, I'm probably gonna be pretty focused on staying
Yeah.
either in Vancouver or like maybe looking at like Bellingham or somewhere like
That's so
that.
cool.
There's a decent amount of jobs here. Obviously, tech and stuff, what I do, is really big, say in like San Francisco area, the Bay Area, where all those big tech companies are. But the
Yeah. Yeah.
riding, I've talked to some of the people around there, and they're like, "Yeah, like don't move there for the riding, whatever you do."
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome. You see,
mhm.
a lot of people, a lot of my viewers don't know, but I was actually born in Vancouver, British Columbia, and have dual citizenship. But it's been a dream to go back. I haven't been there in 20 something years. Just haven't been there, and that's you got it. You have it set there. That's just
Mhm.
like that's the dream. Go ahead and retire and figure some way to make money and just ride all the time.
Mhm.
Real quickly for everybody that's coming in, starting to slowly trickle people in. Ask your questions, type them out, and ask them. Doesn't matter what we're doing. If we're just talking, I'm going to ask those questions, so won't have to wait very long to ask a question. So ask those questions, guys. So yeah, with it being from Vancouver, do you find yourself? I mean, you have the North Shore, you have
Mhm.
Whistler an hour and a half away. Do you find yourself going? Do you travel anywhere else?
I haven't been. Uh,
You
like,
just have everything there, don't you? I mean, it's just
yeah, like in the summer, I go to Whistler a lot. Like, I
yeah.
rode the bike park like almost every weekend last summer. I just
That's
drove up every weekend.
yeah.
Uh, and then I have the local trails here, and I just haven't felt the need. Like, I'm still exploring around here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's kind of like there's so much here that I haven't done. It'd be kind of weird to like venture off.
That's so cool. That's
Because of,
I wouldn't go
yeah,
anywhere else either.
yeah.
I mean, does it? You see, here with seasons, if you want to call them
Mm,
seasons, we have the rainy season, then we have a cold week, and then summer.
hmm
With those seasons, I mean, it's three different types of changes. Whenever it's real rainy, where I normally ride, that's when it gets perfect because we have sugar sand here.
hmm
So when it rains, it really packs down and gets good.
hmm
And in the summer, it's sandy, like I said, and then winter, it's just mixture of both, but a little bit of cold.
hmm
Is it snow and perfect, or is it what's the
Mm.
kind of riding there? Does it switch up?
So we've had a pretty good winter this year, which has been just mostly rain.
Yeah.
In January, I think it was, we had like 28 days of rain or something crazy. So we just didn't see the sun in January, but I still rode a decent amount. It yeah, the snow, it's kind of like it can hold off,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems like it usually does. I've only been here for this was my third winter, and so last winter I think was the worst, where it actually stayed around for like a month, actually at sea level.
Yeah.
But right now, I'd say the snow line is at about like 400 or 500 meters up.
Okay.
So at least like mid mountain trails are still rideable, and like Burnaby Mountain is only 300 meters. So like if there's no snow at sea level, there's almost always no snow at the top of the mountain. So like this local
That's
trails, yeah,
That's nuts.
yeah.
I haven't seen snow in 5 years, so
Hmm.
it's crazy. We don't get snow here. That's nuts. I mean, you're so close to. How far away from the ocean are you then? I mean, I know
uh,
where Vancouver is, but I'm not good with
yeah. So we're
distance on that.
like, let's see, it's like a half an hour drive downtown. I'm gonna
Yeah.
guess we're like 30 kilometers, which would be How many miles is that?
That's
Oof.
something I'm gonna have to start working on if I'm gonna keep doing these.
Yeah, yeah. So it's less, right? So it's like 20 miles, 25 miles. So not too far.
Let's see.
Uh,
Let's find it actually out. 30 km in miles. It is 18.6 miles away.
yeah, it's probably like a little further than that. I
Okay.
don't really go downtown.
Yeah.
Like, uh, it's funny. Everyone who kind of lives in Vancouver
Hmm.
in the area is always like, oh yeah, like downtown's the best. Like you got to move closer to downtown. And I'm like, oh, like I kind of want to move further out, closer
Yeah.
to the mountains.
That's how
Not,
I am. No.
I never go downtown. I don't like. I've been downtown like 4 times in the 2 years I've lived here,
Wow.
and yeah, every downtown to me kind of like seems the same. So
Yeah. Well, you need to
I've been
come.
doing
You need to come here. St.
that.
Augustine is the oldest continual lived-in city in United
Hmm,
States.
no.
So we got some antique places around here. That's cool. So with BMX, do you still BMX? I mean, I know you've posted some videos and everything of you
Hmm.
BMXing. Do you still find yourself out there on the hard stuff, on the concrete?
Not as often. I've been riding mountain bikes a lot more. Like I'd say like 90% of the time I'll mountain bike. This last little while, like the last month or two, I've kind of decided to go ride BMX a bit more because I was like, oh, I can't do the things that I used to be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been going to that indoor park, air rec center, and just kind of like riding the airbag, trying to do some tricks that I used to be able to do, and making sure that I don't totally lose it. I actually really like riding BMX, uh, but the area around me, there's not really like there's no skate parks in my immediate area, so
Yeah.
like I have to drive. The
Yeah.
closest good skate park is like half an hour away, which is kind of annoying. So like if I want to go for just like a quick little ride,
You
just
can't really do
kind of
that.
yeah, it's kind of just more fun just to go for a mountain bike
Yeah.
and you know cruise around the mountain
Yeah. Yeah.
and instead of like go ride BMX and stuff.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, yeah.
So, have you mountain biked anywhere else outside of Vancouver and Whistler?
Like I rode a bit around my hometown. Like before I moved here, I'd bought my mountain bike, like my first one, my first real mountain bike, the Norco Range,
Mm-hmm.
in 2017. So yeah, I built it up there and I rode it around a little bit. Like
Where's
uh,
that? Where's that at?
so Kenora, Ontario
Okay.
is right in the middle of Canada.
Uh huh.
It's 2 hours east of Winnipeg.
Okay.
It's kind of right where our prairies turn into, Canadian Shield,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's actually kind of some decent mountain biking around there. Not a ton of elevation, but some pretty cool trails and stuff. So
That's cool.
yeah, I've done a bit of riding around there.
Okay. Nowhere in the states.
Not yet. I'm probably going to go to Bellingham and see Josh soon. I've been telling him that for like 2 years now, and
Yeah.
one of these days, I swear I'm going down there.
Yeah.
It looks really, really awesome. So,
I've been telling that to Joe Tonka for a
mm.
while. I've been like, I'm gonna come down and visit you at Alafaya, but just haven't done it at all. Things come up. So,
Hmm.
what do you? You're a student right now. What are you studying?
So I'm a graduate student. I'm doing my master's in, I guess, biomedical engineering, technically.
Wow.
So I don't do, so I'm done all my coursework, so I don't go to class or anything anymore.
Yeah.
Uh, my research is, let's see, so like 10,000 foot view. The lab that I work for
Uh-huh.
does a type of brain imaging called magnetoencephalography, and it's really similar to electroencephalography in that like it's similar data, but just we get way better data. So an EEG, like say if you got a concussion or hit your head or something like that, they place all these electrodes on your head and
Yeah.
they read the electrical signals that get to the top of your head,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of just tells you things about how your brain's working, and then you can study lots of things. They do basically anything that kind of has to do with the brain. That's kind of the go-to right now. Lots of autism studies, lots of stuff
Wow.
about muscles and stuff like that. So the EEG is kind of like it's an old technology and it's really easy to use. And in the MEG, instead of detecting the electrical like voltages on the skin,
Uh-huh.
we're detecting the magnetic fields that are inside the brain. So the sensors aren't actually touching your head at all. They're kind of like these little antennas in this big vat around your head.
Okay.
And yeah, so basically anytime you think or do anything, just being alive, your brain is conducting electricity,
Yeah.
and electricity creates magnetic fields, and then we pick that up, we see it on the machine. And so the lab does things like, say, like the psychologist in the lab will look at people with autism, and they'll do experiments and see how they react and compare it to the known population that we know doesn't have autism, and see, because before the test was always, you would just ask people like questions verbally and just say like, how are you feeling, and all this stuff, and it wasn't that
Mm-hmm.
objective. So we're kind of looking at like objective measurements, seeing what's actually going on in the brain, with these people, and stuff like that.
Man, you
And
you just turned complete like smarty pants on me. That's insane.
yes,
You're brilliant. That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
and so I haven't even got to what I do yet. So
Oh, you haven't
but
yet.
that's
Okay.
just what the lab does.
What do you what do you do?
Yeah, so that's what they do. Like, that's my advisor. She's like head of MEG and stuff. Super
Uh-huh.
smart lady. And so I'm just like this little part working on hardware, and so I don't know as much about, say, the psychology and stuff like that, and the signals and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. So what they've recruited me to do is look into new ways to detect the magnetic fields. And right now, like I said, they just use these, basically they're metal loops like an antenna, and they're super cooled in helium. And there's a bunch of fancy electronics that go on, and it's kind of complicated and kind of above my head still. But there's a few problems with it. And what
Yeah.
we want to do now is move to a new technology called OPMs, which is optically pumped magnetometers, and they don't need to be super cooled, and they can detect even smaller magnetic fields. And basically, what that ends up looking like is, I have this glass cell, kind of, you can imagine a cylinder of glass. I put a tiny bit of metal in it, alkali metal like a rubidium is what I use, and I heat it up until it turns into a vapor, and I shine some light that it likes through it, and then I detect it with basically a light detector.
Wow.
And the amount of light that I detect, the way I'm doing it now,
Uh-huh.
is a function of how much magnetic field is present. So if I wave a magnet, over here, I can see different amounts of light are being absorbed, and that's what I'm trying to do now. And once I get it working properly,
Yeah.
I'll write about it, and
Yeah.
then I'll finish my master's
Do
and call it
you
a day.
do you like, if you had to choose one or the other, doing what you just explained to me, which went
Hmm.
over my head? I'm a music major, so
Hmm.
that stuff is just
Hmm.
that's mathematically or whatever impossible in my head.
Hmm.
If you had to choose that compared to mountain biking, because right now what you sounded really excited.
Hmm.
You talked a lot more than I've ever heard you talk in
Hmm.
any of your videos. Did is that more intriguing and interesting to you than per se your YouTube channel?
Uh, that's a pretty complicated question.
Yeah.
I think it varies, and I'd say, like, right now, right this second, um, yeah, it's hard to say. Like, I put a lot of time into studying engineering and stuff like that. And I do
Mm-hmm.
really like it. Um, but say if I won the lottery right now, I would. This is how I try to make all my decisions.
Yeah, yeah. I do that
uh,
too with my wife.
yeah. So say if I just had, like, if money wasn't an issue,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so close to graduating. I'd probably just finish. I'd finish that.
Smart.
I'd be able to quit TAing, which
Yeah.
would be nice.
Okay.
Uh, but then I would probably just make YouTube videos full time, and just kind of see how that went for like a year or two.
Yeah.
Just like see how my interest goes. I really like a type of engineering called embedded, like embedded programming, basically microcontrollers and things like that. It's kind of, you know, uh, say your remote control for your TV. When you push a button,
Yeah. Yeah.
that goes to the microcontroller.
Yeah.
It decides what it's going to do. It sends out the signal, change the channel, stuff like that. So I do really like that kind of stuff. And then uh, I'd probably study that a little bit more. I guess the
That's
nice thing
cool.
about
Okay.
engineering is, like, I do like it.
Yeah.
And the hard part is, like, so when I go to get a job, especially if it's in the medical device industry, it can be kind of intense. Like, it's difficult, like difficult problems that require like a lot of reading and a lot of trying to understand stuff. and it's pretty heavy at times, and it can be kind of stressful. And yeah, it's kind of like you got to really be in the mood for it. And right now, mountain biking is a little bit more fun.
Of course.
Um, so, so yeah, there's like a kind of long, vague answer about what I would do.
Now, you just recently got a new mountain bike.
Hmm.
The specialized.
The Enduro, yeah,
The
the
Enduro.
Enduro, the
Okay.
most, yeah, it's like the easiest name
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can think
yeah.
of. The
I was
Enduro,
thinking that, but I was like, it can't be that easy. That
yeah,
not dumb. How are you enjoying that? You really enjoying that bike?
yeah.
You actually you got an upgraded because the
Hmm.
one you had an issue with it, right?
Yeah, so I broke it
Okay.
after probably like 10 rides.
Wow.
Well, 10 rides, after 10 rides, I noticed.
Uh huh.
So potentially earlier than that. I cracked it kind of on the top tube near the seat tube. Pretty tiny crack, but still a crack.
Yeah.
And that was unfortunate. I had a kind of cool color like this. It was like a dark red that really shined in the sun,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is part of the reason I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I cracked it and brought it back to the shop. And luckily, yeah, Specialized got back to them like that day and sent
Mm-hmm.
out my frame the next day. And I had the bike built up again like a week later. And they sent me the S Works model, which is pretty much the same bike. I can't tell the difference besides the fact that it says S Works on the side.
Yeah.
And there's one of the linkages was aluminum on my bike,
Uh huh.
but it's now carbon. So
Oh wow.
I like lost like 100 grams or something.
That's insane. Now,
Uh,
what'd you do to crack that first one? What you don't know where you cracked it or what you were doing?
yeah, like that's I have no idea. I think it was a manufacturing defect. Like I think just something was wrong with the carbon. Like probably when they laid it or something. Maybe a piece of dirt got in there,
Yeah.
and just there was a weak spot, and it
Now
cracked.
that little space you put a little foam piece inside that spacer, didn't you? Inside where the shock is and the joints are at and everything.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I've been meaning to get around that because that's how a guy in Squamish, he it opens up
Yeah.
and like a rock got in there and
Oh.
it just like crushed it into the frame. And I guess Specialized says they are going to cover that under warranty for the next little while,
Yeah.
but yeah, they said for like just for like the first year or something, like something
Hmm.
odd. So I'm probably gonna put foam under there just to be safe, but I just haven't gotten around to it. Uh,
I would be scared every single time I'd ride until I put
yeah,
the piece of foam in there. I'm surprised you haven't put that yet.
no, I don't. I'm
Come on,
just
Nick. You got to put that
sometimes
in
I
there.
just get so lazy. I'm like, roll the dice on this one.
So right now, in my I don't know word in my days of mountain biking, I'm
Hmm.
really into doing drops.
Hmm.
I like to jump. I'm not good at it, but I'm really pumped about drops.
Hmm.
And what is the biggest drop that you have ever done?
Hmm. I think either the one on Dirt Merchants or the one off Clown Shoes.
Okay.
So in the let's see, you can see the Dirt Merchant drop in my Dirt Merchant video.
Uh
You
huh.
can't really tell how big it is. Like I don't show me hitting it from the side. I show it like I show the drop from the side in the first
Yeah.
10 seconds,
Yeah.
and then I ride the trail. I think it's when you land, it's probably 11, 12 feet or so.
Okay.
I think a little bit bigger than the Fade to Black drop. And then in Eric's top Whistler, what did he call it? Like top 10 Whistler features or wood
Yeah.
features video,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hit the pink bike drop at the end of Clown Shoes, which is pretty big. I think on the side, there's a sign that says it's like 10
Okay.
feet
Yes.
or something.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So those are pretty big, but I've gone out and seen, even today, we rode past like one of the drops that are just built by kind of the crazy guys out in
Mm-hmm.
the woods here. And it must have been like 25 feet, like
Jeez.
especially something that's not in the bike park.
Yeah.
So it's not like a big, clean, open, like run out or anything like that. It's like
Wow.
a sketchy run in and like you land and there's trees everywhere. And I was like, it looks good though. I was like kind of tempted. I was like, oh, I should come back and maybe give this a go because I do love drops, but it's big enough that like you probably could get pretty hurt. The guy I was with actually got really hurt hitting a big drop like that, and like he had broken one of his vertebrae or something, and it's
Oh,
been like 6 or 7 months of like rehab and stuff. So
that's nasty.
yeah. So it's kind of like, well, like it does look fun. It would be really awesome to be do something like that,
Yeah,
but it's risky. So
yeah. So with that, injuries. What's the worst injury you've ever
mm,
experienced from mountain biking?
mm. Yeah. So mountain biking, it was my first year here, and I was riding in the Whistler Bike Park, and it was our first lap, and we went up to the Garbo zone, so it's like the second chair up,
Mm-hmm.
and it was fall, so it was kind of cold and stuff. And I was riding down, and like it's cold, you kind of feel a little stiff. You're like, you don't feel great. And we got to a point, I think they call it Oakley Island.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a bunch of jumps and stuff. Like there's a pretty big hip on the left, and then there's a bunch of little step ups in the middle. And I don't usually do the step ups because they're kind of sketchy, even though they're smaller. But I was like, oh, I won't do the hip today because, or hit the, at least right now because I feel like so stiff and I don't want to crash. So I just went like full speed at one of these little step ups, and I overshot it,
Ugh.
and I just like tipped forward, like
Oh, slow
going Mach 10.
motion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just like tumbled along the ground. Somehow didn't break anything,
Oh,
but when they x-rayed my shoulder, there's like, I guess, like 3 bones that sit out, and they were all like compressed together. So it really hurt. Um,
ouch.
yeah. That's probably the worst one. It took me quite a while. Like, I wore a sling for at least 4 weeks, and then it felt pretty weird, I think, for like another 2 months.
Wow.
But yeah, that's probably my worst one. I'm a pretty conservative rider. Like I look at things a lot, and I like think about it. I practice. Like I'll roll up, um,
Mm-hmm.
and I won't. I usually won't just like send something blind.
Yeah, yeah.
I yeah. One time, one guy called me like a 90-10 rider, and he's like, "Yeah, you only do things when you're 90% sure you're gonna land them."
Yeah.
And I mean, in BMX, like this is when we BMX'd. So in BMX, like it's okay to be the opposite because like you can try rail, 100 times, and it's okay if you don't get it 99 times. Like you kind of fall like a foot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you
But I
roll your
brought
ankle.
that, yeah. But I brought that over to mountain biking, and yeah, I don't. Yeah, anytime I'm doing anything, like I feel like I'm pretty confident on say A line now, but I've ridden it so many times. Like I know every single jump. I know how they feel. Like I know how my bike feels. And now after like 2 years, now I can ride it. But some people just come to the park and they'll do the whole thing like first
God,
go.
God. Do you
Yeah.
find I mean, especially A-line, do you find mostly the people that are riding there are all tourists, or are there
Mm,
more locals there?
it's a mix. Like it's going to depend on what trails you ride, like who you see. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
ride the green trails too often, so I don't run into people who are like really tourists who don't really mountain bike, who are like going on guided tours and stuff.
Yeah.
So there could be way more of them than I know because I just don't ride the same trails. Um, and a lot of the rental bikes are like pretty sick, like they're Santa Cruz V10s, so they kind of blend in to the crowd. And yeah, like say if you're riding A line, for the most part, like people are pretty good. Like once you get onto those trails. Um, so in my experience, just on the stuff I've been riding, it's like a pretty healthy mix, like from guys who are must be local and just killing it, and to people who are just trying out, like kind of all across the board.
That's insane.
Hmm.
Now, I know the GoPro effect does amazing work on drops and jumps and everything. Is it really like I know like rock slabs and all that kind of stuff. That's an obvious given. But the jumps, is it you're moving super fast. I think you were
Hmm.
saying beforehand when I was talking to you earlier, on A line you're moving really fast.
Hmm.
Those jumps don't look as big. Like they don't look huge. Like I know I couldn't do it, just in it right now, but they look like something I could hit.
Yeah, so it's tricky because yeah, so there is the GoPro effect, even with the jumps, but they are easy jumps. Like once you do them, once you get the confidence to do them, they're not sketchy at all. and that's why like when you watch someone who's renailing a lot, it looks easy, right? Like
Yeah.
jumps look
Yeah.
small, and they seem to be clearing them just fine. Because yeah, like you can kind of just hit jumps all day.
Wow.
Um, yeah, it's kind of. I think it's a combination of GoPro and sometimes I'll just see a really good rider do something and they'll just
Hmm.
make it look easy. Like, and I'm like, oh, I could do that. Like, until I go to try it, and I'm like, oh, it's way harder than it looks. Even in person, sometimes you're like, someone's just so good, they made it look really easy, and you're like,
Wow.
well,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So it's like a combination of those.
That's insane. What's your favorite trick to do off jumps?
Hmm. Uh.
See, me, I just like I said, I can't jump very good.
hmm.
So, and when I am in the air, I'm clean, I'm good, but just actually moving my body and doing something. My dream is to just make a loose, stanky whip. That's
Hmm.
just the sexiest
Hmm.
biking move I've ever seen.
Hmm. So, yeah, I like. So, yeah, it is. There's kind of like the overlap of like tricks I like and tricks I can actually do.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, So I do like a lot of like I try to do like 1-footers like and whip at the same time and
Uh
stuff
huh.
like that, or like a 1-footed table. I really like doing tabletops.
Those
Working
look
on that
sick
more
too.
and more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really just like whip, um, like moto whip.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, that one's a little tricky. I'm gonna try. I can do tuck no handers right now, but uh, not they're not as easy on the mountain bike because like I just hit the stem on my stomach and stuff. So I want to learn suicide no handers. I think that one will be pretty
What's a
cool.
tuck no hander? When you pull the bars in,
So yeah, you
they
pull
go
the
up.
bars like up to your chest,
Okay,
and then
yeah.
you kind of like use your armpits to hold the bars. That's how I do it. And you do no hander that way. And then there's suicide no hander, which is basically you pinch the seat and just let go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah,
That's
so
insane.
I've never done one of those, but one of these days I'll bring my big bike to Air Rec Center and try it into the airbag.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about the GoPro effect. Your whole channel is, I mean, except for the vlogs you did this winter when it was snow and everything, and I haven't gone fully back into like the archives of VanCan. Um, Most of the stuff you're doing is POV. Do you think And I asked this to a lot of the people I interview. Do you feel POV is overdone? And I know, like I said, I know you do POV like almost 100%. Do you kind of feel like it's overdone now, or do you still think it's kicking butt?
uh, there's a lot more of it, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it has its place. Like if you're going to, show a video or like show a trail,
Yeah.
uh, it's kind of just you know, one of the ways you can do it. It
Mm-hmm.
just so happens that yeah, it's just so much easier to put on a gimbal and ride a trail and
Yep.
film that way when you're by yourself. It's so much. It's like 100 times more work to try and film a trail like third person with a big camera. So it's kind of like I'm a bit limited in how I can film, so I kind of stick to the GoPro,
Yeah.
and uh, which is okay. Like it ends up still being pretty interesting, I think. And yeah, yeah, I don't think it's. I wouldn't say it's overdone. A lot of people are doing it, but
Mm-hmm.
if you wanted to start a channel and you kind of had an interesting angle to go about, and uh, you could still sort of get things going because it's more about like the channel. A lot of times, it's more about the what the video's about rather than just watching like for the sake of watching GoPro video.
Yeah.
Like you're not just watching some GoPro loop at the store of just like a guy riding a bike doing some tricks or
Yeah.
something. You're kind of watching a video that's like maybe it's a review of a bike, or maybe they're riding new trails, or maybe they're out at Sedona Bike Festival or something like that, and they're just using the GoPro as a way to like tell the story. So it ends up being okay, even though lots of people are using that as an avenue to tell their story.
Do you think your channel is going to be continually going in the same path it's going, or do you see yourself moving it further to the vlogging like you did this winter, or you gonna just stick with the way it's going? Do you see it moving elsewhere?
I think I'll probably always do some riding videos. I'd like to start doing more stuff with the big camera, just telling kind of different stories or doing kind of uh, different kind of videos. Maybe talking about different bikes and maybe how tos and stuff like that. Um, yeah, like I said, it's just tricky. I have a bunch of videos that I'd like to film,
Yeah.
but they're way more time consuming,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
a lot harder to film and stuff like that. Just haven't found a place to fit them in, especially with it being winter. But
It's
now they're
so much
starting to
easier to just do plain old POV.
hmm
It's not as time consuming.
yeah. So I have a bunch of videos that I want to film that I probably will film this summer. Now
Yeah.
that when I come home, like they'll still be light for another, 2 hours, 3 hours, four
Yeah.
hours now,
Yeah.
and I can actually go and like film things like Monday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
Friday, and actually put it all together in a week.
Yeah.
Whereas before I was like, oh, I had to, take time off in the morning and try and go film.
You see, and the story part, like you were saying, is like exactly blind stuff. Uh, Stefano's saying the same thing there. The story behind it, and you too, blind stuff does the same thing. You're talking at the same time, and I tried doing that at the beginning of my channel. I just couldn't do it, and it's a skill you guys you've definitely got. And like I've said before we started the live stream, you have that voice that I don't want to sound weird. You have that soothing kind of voice that can go to not necessarily go to sleep with, but you have that good looking voice, radio voice, and you definitely tell the story, and it's intriguing. And you're going to continue doing that.
Yeah, I think for the next little while here, like with Whistler opening up and stuff like that, yeah, especially if I'm alone, I'll probably stick to mostly GoPro stuff, and I think there's still lots of like cool trails, lots of cool
Yeah.
stuff to do.
So you don't think
Yeah.
Whistler's overdone?
No, like it just is it's that good,
Yeah.
It just is like,
I mean, Jordan Boostmasters set his whole channel like 90% of off of Whistler. So yeah.
yeah, it just is, and they're always changing, right? Like Dirt Merchant last year was a big one. Like
Yeah,
they redid
yeah.
the whole trail; it's all new. Like they redid D1, this pro line. They fixed up grab apple hits, and then there's stuff like stuff that I've never done, right? So I did a video about riding those trails, like those pro line trails I'd never ridden before. And even
Yeah.
though lots of people have seen videos of people riding them a lot better than I did, I just wanted to show what it's like to learn how to ride these trails and kind of the steps that I took to ride them. So
Did you
it's kind
send
of like,
crabapple hits?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're at the end of the summer there. It's pretty big. The last jump
Yeah.
is 50 feet.
That's gnarly.
Yeah, it's big. It's definitely like it's some serious airtime.
That's awesome.
And yeah, they're really nice jumps though. Like once you get used to like hitting jumps on A line, and you can they're so similar.
Yeah.
It's just like you go a little faster and you go in the air a little bigger. They are scary though. Like you come up to the jump and it's like, because you see it coming up at you, and it's like 14 feet high. And you're like,
Now, what are the lips like? Here in Florida, for some reason, 90% of the jumps that I feel, 90% of the jumps are very DJ style of lips off of them, sending you straight up instead of distance. Those there at Whistler are more distance. They're smooth, right?
yeah, pretty flat. Like most of the jumps, yeah, they're all pretty flat. Like there's not a lot of curvature to the jumps.
Yeah.
I'd say there's maybe like 2 or 3 jumps in the whole park that really have like a lip, and they're like optional. So in A line, there's Tombstone, which gets like kind of lippy.
Yeah.
But like crabapple hits now, like they're pretty mellow, like big long jumps. So you're on the jump for quite a while, and you feel it going up, and that helps a lot. Like I'd much rather do that. When
Now
it comes to those
the length of the jumps, because I remember as a kid, I would we'd go to the lake, and there was a cliff we'd jump off of, and I don't remember how tall it was. It felt like 100 feet, and it definitely wasn't that tall. But it was tall enough that me jumping off, I was able to scream and then take a breath, and then continue to scream. Are they that long? Because all you guys are doing, you're talking. That's what amazes me. You guys are freaking talking as you're going off these insane, what I would feel people dying on. Sending it, and you're still talking, just normal. Is it that kind of distance?
Some of the jumps, yeah, you can. I wonder how much time you're in there. I think Seth had a video where he measured the amount of airtime, like on every jump on a line or something.
Okay.
Uh, and I know it feels way longer, but I think like maybe the biggest one was almost like a second, which feels like 10 seconds when you're actually doing it.
Okay. And I know we're talking a lot about Whistler. That's just, I mean, that's what sells, I guess. That's what sells. What is your favorite trail? What's your favorite area in Whistler that you could just ride all day long that you just love?
Well, I've ridden like probably Dirt Merchant, like
Okay.
just in the bike park. It's just such a fun jump trail. I really like hips, and there's actually hips on that jump.
Okay.
And yeah, just it's a really fun trail. And then outside of the bike park, I haven't been too much. So yeah, I don't really have a favorite trail outside the park, but there was like tons of crazy stuff.
That's awesome. That place is the Mecca.
Yeah, it's like it's crazy.
That's so cool. Now, is there? What's your? Obviously, you don't like going on greens and all that kind of stuff, but what's your least favorite trail there at Whistler?
I'm sure I have one. Probably like when you're coming down. Sometimes when you come down a line, like the last section of it'll be closed, and you have to take like say this trail called Monkey Hands down, which is this single black, but it's usually just all dusty and blown out, and it's like it's a tech trail, but like not really. It's almost just like they just dug like a trail just to get to the bottom. And yeah, it's always like, oh, I can't ride the end of a line. I got to go do this other trail, and it's
Just
that
kind
one.
of
That one, yeah, that one I probably just don't like because like I'm always
it's one of those
disappointed.
bummers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like oh no.
Crap, I can't go where I want to. Now,
Yeah.
when you're route riding, I know a couple of the past videos you've been riding with people, or you met up with some people that you met out there. Are you a solo rider, or you find yourself riding with a group most of the time?
The last like most I've been riding alone the last 2 years. Just because like we're going out filming and stuff, and it was just easier to go out like say if it was Saturday, I could just decide like, oh, I'm gonna go out right now and film.
Yeah.
And not have to like see about anyone wanting to go ride, whether they want to go ride and stuff like that. But lately, I've been trying to do more group rides and get together with guys. One thing that is always tricky. So a lot of the guys I ride with now have been riding for quite a while, and so they're in pretty good shape. So they're really pretty fast climbers. So I could ride with them once we get to the trail and we ride down. But sometimes we'd be riding up, and they're just like they're going so fast. I'm like, oh, like I'm gonna die if I put out this much power for an hour.
Yeah.
And they're just cruising along, chatting, and I'm like, oh, this is I'm just sweating away. So I've been working on that a lot more, just like doing more rides, longer rides, trying to do more sprints and stuff like that, just so I can kind of keep up with the guys who I'd like to ride with. Kind of the groups I've been riding with, they're they're still faster on the downs and stuff, but I can kind of like tag along and like kind of pick up a few things here and there. But a big thing holding me back was they climb way faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, slightly less faster now, but still faster.
Now with that, you did the EWS or the Whistler part.
Yeah.
Okay. How was that for you? Did you finish, or were you one of the? There was two of y'all that didn't.
Yeah, after stage 5, I was just like, nah, like this is getting scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, we finished. So I did the first stage, like top of the world, and it went okay. Like I had been probably riding the bike park too much and not doing enough climbing and stuff, because even on the top of the world stage, which is all downhill, there's still like it's 25 minutes of basically cardio and like upper body strength.
Yeah.
Yeah, my time like probably like 5 minutes in, I was like, oh, I'm pretty tired, and I had to take it pretty easy, which sucked. I mean, everyone is going to feel pretty tired,
Yeah.
but I definitely felt pretty off. And so, but that one went okay. Like we finished top of the world, and I was like, my hands hurt, but I can deal with
God.
it. The next day was all the trails outside the bike park, and it rained, and it was raining,
Oh.
and so we started at 8 in the morning. I think I can't remember who I was with. Jordan and I started together, and you got to start off. I think it was like a 500-meter climb, which is how many feet now? It's that triple, so 1,500 feet.
Jeez.
Just like right off the bat, 8 in the morning, right up to a double black trail in
Good
the
morning.
wet.
Let's go bike 1,500 feet up.
Yeah, and that's just the first stage, and it's back down too. So it's all I mean, it's not timed up, but you do 1,500 feet up, and then 1,500 feet down is timed all one go, like tech wet trail.
Yeah.
And had it been dry, it would have been maybe okay. But it was wet, so I was all over the place, and like I said, I'm a pretty cautious rider, so like anytime I see wet routes, I'm like trying to go really slow over it. And then you got like guys like Josh who just are like sending it. He's just so funny. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go," and he's just cruising along like nothing. And so after that first stage, I was kind of, you know, it's not. It's like I was kind of like bummed. Not that they beat me, but I did worse than even I thought.
Yeah.
And I think Eric felt the same way. He had a bit of like he slipped or something, and so like I beat Eric on that stage. And I mean, even if I was riding well, I think Eric like would still beat me if we both had a good run. I think he felt the same way. Like he slipped, and he was like, "Oh, like it's wet, it sucks. Like you're trying to ride well, and you just can't."
Yeah.
And so like you kind of start off like kind of in a bad mood. It's so hard to get out of like that funk. And then we went to the next stage, and at the time I had a Capra, which wasn't the best climber either. I just had it set up so like downhill, so everyone was just like cruising along so fast. And I didn't have Eagle or anything either. Like I had still an 11 speed with this big tank bike. And yeah, so I was just cruising along. Like it was okay, but then we got to the next stage. It was pretty pedally and wet and rooty. And again, I was like, oh, like, yeah, I did it, but it didn't feel great. And then we did one more stage, and that was, where did it start? No Joke, which is this single black tech trail in the bike park. And it was cold. Like once you go up to the bike park in the rain, like up to the Garbo zone, it just is like, it's pretty cold. It's probably only like a few degrees above 0, well, Celsius. So.
And Josh was on he had just a regular shirt.
Yeah. Well, Josh is a madman. He's we don't know what's going on with him, but he's crazy. But yeah, so we did that. We did No Joke into Delayed Fuse, and Delayed Fuse was a newer tech trail that isn't bad when it's dry because it's so rooty, but you can keep your speed. But when it's wet, it's like you keep slipping your back tire everywhere, and you're slowing down, and then it becomes really pedally, and your front wheel is always washing out. And after that, I was like, I'm really tired, and that was like a trail that's not that hard, but I was scared on it. And then we had another stage where I hadn't ridden this trail before, and I knew it had a few things on it that were like kind of slippery in the wet, and I was like, nah, like that's okay. Like,
Yep.
yeah. So I just called it a day. I don't know if it was the right decision or not, but yeah, I wasn't feeling that great.
You're here walking, you're talking to me, so it might have been the right choice.
Yeah. So I overheard a guy in the Whistler Village. He was in a wheelchair talking about, some guy asked him why he was in a wheelchair, and he actually said he did the Garbo race in the rain.
Oh, geez.
And he slipped, and that's how he broke his back.
Oh,
I was
no.
like, oh, yeah, like, so it
good.
You know, it happens. Like, people do get really hurt in these races in the rain. It's slippery and it's scary, and if you're trying to race it, it's like.
Now that's a normal thing with you guys, isn't it? I mean, that
racing?
That whole the water, the wet. Isn't that you're in I mean, Seattle is known for being really rainy. Y'all up there it's wet all the time, ain't it?
Yeah, we do get a ton of rain, so I do ride in the rain pretty often.
You see, that's nuts.
Um,
You have the North Shore, which is known for your logs and skinnies and the wood features, right?
mm-hmm. Yep.
And yet you guys are rocking it out with that with the rain. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's the. If anything sketches me out, I mean, we got tons of routes here in
Mm-hmm.
Florida. That's the sketchiest thing to me is a greasy root just slipping out underneath you. That's what scares me.
Yeah. So yeah, the thing about riding in the rain, especially racing in the rain, is that most of the time when I fall, it's almost like I go do something and I kind of know that it's risky or like I haven't done it before, so I kind of like maybe know what to expect. It's a little more predictable.
Yeah.
But the thing about the wet routes is you could just be riding along trying to go fast, and there's a route
Mm-hmm.
you don't see, and your front
Yeah.
wheel just goes out, and you're just not ready at all,
Yeah.
and that's how you crash like really bad.
That's how it happens. Yeah.
And yeah, so I was just scared, and I was like scared and tired, so I just
God.
called it a day. And uh, yeah, there's a pretty like if you watch, I think it's Yuka's video where she records all the like the pros and then Josh and them going down the rock roll.
Yeah.
The pros is actually like it's hilarious because they're actually going fast and they're really good. And there's a couple times where they're just sliding down the rocks so fast and like they'll hit the catch berm and somehow save it. It's pretty crazy. And yeah, I know I wouldn't have looked forward to that part.
Well, there's a risk factor there that they're able to take that
Yeah.
us normal people and YouTubers, all that stuff. We still. I have to still go back to work. You still have to go back
Mm.
to work. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's one of those things. That's
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna do it again. So I'm
Yeah.
doing. I signed up for all the local races. So I got a season pass to the North Shore races,
Mm-hmm.
which are mostly just fun. And then I'll do the ones here in Coquitlam too. So end up doing like at least 10 races locally. And then Paul and I are going to do a real enduro in Vetter or on Vetter in Chilliwack.
Okay.
We're going to do a team enduro.
That's
So
cute.
we like race at the same time. It's going to be hilarious. Uh, and not against each other either. I'm not even sure how it works, but it just sounded funny. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. And
That's fun.
and
Is it
then
gonna
we're
be
going
like
to
a
do
tandem ride or?
oh, I would love to do a tandem ride. I think it'd be so funny. Uh, and then we're gonna do the EWS 100 again. So I know, yeah, Brian's already signed up. I'm sure. I think Paul and me, Ryan, and Jordan.
I'd love to do that
Yeah,
someday.
yeah. So this time, I think I know what I'm going in for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing a lot more climbing coming up to it, and yeah, hopefully I have a better showing and give these guys more of a challenge.
Yeah.
Can't just let them win every year.
Be in that list of the guys who finished, not
Yeah.
the one with who was the other one? Eric? No,
Ryan and I.
Ryan.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So Ryan did stage 2, and he was like, "Oh, this is like a little too much."
Yep.
And then yeah, I only made it like 2 more stages, and then I was like, "This is pretty rough." And then even Jordan, uh, the stage after, like when I said, "Oh, I'm calling it," he climbed up to the next stage, but then he took like quite a long break because even he was like, "Oh, I'm dead tired," and
Yeah.
yeah.
And when
So
you're
he,
tired, getting on stuff
mhm.
that's sketchy.
Yeah, I get really stiff. Like when I'm tired, I don't have enough energy to kind of let the bike move under me,
Yeah.
and that's like, yeah, you're just like hitting every bump so hard.
So the EWS was that your first enduro, or had you done them
Mm,
before?
I've done local stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but that one's way bigger. Like the EWS 100 is like an
That's
all
pro.
day event. Yeah, or it is 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big race. Whereas the local stuff is like maybe an hour long loop, like 500 meters of climbing rather than what do we do, like 3,000 or something crazy.
That's nuts. Well, that's a awesome accomplishment. Even just completing what you completed, that's totally a cool thing to say. Most people can't even say they've even seen it. So,
Yeah.
have you done any other races besides enduro? Have you done XC races?
No, no.
No.
I've only ever competed in BMX. That's the only
Okay.
other competitions I've done. Yeah.
Did you go very far in BMX?
Like locally, I think my best result was like I think I got like third out of 25
Okay.
riders or so. It's
Okay.
probably like my best showing. Uh, I rode the big BMX contest at the Toronto BMX Jam,
Yeah.
but never really. I just didn't put in the work to like get used to the ramps, and it was a different style of riding than I was really used to. So like uh, a little bit more park like box jump tricks and stuff is
Mm-hmm.
what was doing really well, and I just did a bit more street stuff,
Quick
and
question.
yeah.
BMX. You did BMX. I didn't do
Hmm.
BMX. I did something else. Did you? The BMX. I was a fruit booter. Um, y'all called. Um,
Hmm.
the BMX guys around me were pretty snobby towards us rollerbladers or whatever, aggressive inliners. Did you guys up there? Do you feel the same way about fruit
um,
booters?
I rarely see people on rollerblades
Yeah.
anymore.
Oh, anymore. Yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah,
You see
and
scooters.
even yeah, way more scooters
Oh,
now.
dude.
And so I got a whole hypothesis there, but um, so yeah, when I first started, so if we go way back when I first started riding, I mountain biked, but I just rode like street. I didn't really ride any trails or anything. I had this specialized rock hopper, but it was all like just a bag brake, put 24-inch wheel in the back. Like I
Mm-hmm.
only rode street and skate parks and stuff.
Yeah.
And like the skateboarders really hated that like I would come ride the skate park on my big bike,
Yeah.
and yeah, which was so funny because they just hated getting kicked out of places, but they would get mad that I'd ride the skate park. And so yeah, that was always weird when I was like 13, like having all these skaters like really mad, like as angry as a person could be is like how upset they would be.
Really?
Yeah, totally. Super like fights would break out over
Wow.
just yeah, that's how dumb it was. And there were still and there wasn't as much sort of beef between say BMXers and skaters, but there was still like kind of like a bit. I see it more in other cities like Winnipeg, Kenora, not so much. But I went to Toronto, and a bunch of the skate parks have like no bikes allowed, and I didn't know
Mm.
that, so I was just riding around, and I did a grind on a ledge, and a guy like got just furiously mad at me, and
It's amazing
and
what
yeah,
people get upset at nowadays.
yeah, like he was he
You're
didn't
riding a
just
bike in here. No bikes.
yeah it's just one of those things. Uh, it just it's strange, but that stuff's slowly going away. Like I don't really see that anymore. It's mostly like the 35 plus skaters who are still around,
Yeah.
still trying to keep like the hate alive. It's really funny. Like you see this guy who's like, it's like, man, go get a job, and like this isn't something you should be spending your time on, like being mean to these 15-year-old kids who ride bikes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like and all the younger skaters are like, oh, we don't care. We don't like scooter kids now.
That's awesome. Well,
But
we got just a couple more minutes left
mhm.
with you on here. With your YouTube channel for other people, how long have you had your YouTube channel, real quickly? How long ago did
Just
you start it?
I think I uploaded my first video 2 years ago in February.
Okay, from that time to now,
Hmm.
for other people starting YouTube channels,
Hmm.
I like to ask, what do you wish you would have known back when you started that 2 years ago? What do you wish you would have known that you know now?
Hmm. I guess I didn't realize how important like thumbnails and
Yeah,
titles were. Super important. Um, and topics like there are just topics that are more interesting. I guess initially, like when I first started, I thought there was kind of more of a luck aspect to it. I didn't
yeah,
really realize people were thinking about like the types of videos they were putting out
yeah,
because
exactly.
this stuff does better.
Hmm.
Like putting wood in the thumbnail kind of thing like seems to attract more viewers.
Does it really?
Yeah, you put like a wood bridge in the thumbnail, people seem to really like that. Features are cool, so I think like if there's a cool feature in the thumbnail, it's kind of like, oh, like maybe this video's got some cool features.
I didn't even
And
know
luckily
that.
on the
That's
North
cool. Yeah,
Shore, yeah,
yeah. On the North
we
Shore, everything's wood.
yeah, we got some cool stuff here, so it's kind of like
Just put a
you know,
long moss-covered log. Just
mm,
that's my just looking
yeah.
down and seeing the ferns and everything on the side. That's brilliant. That's awesome. Well, real quickly, guys, make sure, like I've said, Go check out Nick's YouTube channel, VanCan. Dude, I appreciate you so much for coming on here
Yeah,
and
no problem.
talking with me. A little small YouTube channel like me, and like I've said, your channel is like one of my favorite. Maybe it's because I'm from Vancouver, but just a combination of that with your voice, with like the most legit places to ride that you ride at, is just what's up. But I appreciate. What's real quickly? What's your saying that you always close out with?
I mostly just say something like "See you in next week's video." I don't have a saying yet. It's been 2 years.
We got to
Still working
work on
it.
that. You see, I
I
did
know.
another interview with somebody else the other couple weeks ago, and they didn't have a saying.
I know.
So everybody go to Nick's channel, and on his videos, type what you want him to start saying at the end of his videos. So again, man, I appreciate it. Like I say every single time, guys, make sure you lift up God, lift up life, lift up the adventure. Get out there and make your own adventures. Go check out Nick's channel, VanCan. His link is down in the description below. Go and check it out. He's got a Patreon page. Help him support. All these big channels need support to push Nick through college. And we appreciate you, man, for hopping on here. And I had a blast. So.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No problem. We will see you guys next week. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share this video out so we can get more people in the next one. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks again, Nick. God bless, guys.